Okay, are we live? Are we live? Are we live? I think we're live. We may be live. Looks like we might be live. Okay, it looks like we are live. Recording from Arlington, Vermont. This is Happy Valley Hobbies. My name is Mr. Katie, and these are hobbies that make me happy. Long time, I guess, followers of this channel probably were confused that I've been missing for the past couple of weeks. That is because my supervisor at work finally went to the hospital. Basically, he was having an issue he was constantly ignoring because, need to push through it and, sacrifice himself from everyone. Oh, hello, John. Thank you for coming. So the thing is that my supervisor's schedule is sort of a more of a standard, I'm trying to think now. It's sort of if I remember correctly, it's sort of like a 7 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. And that's his schedule. My schedule, on the other hand, is 10-hour, instead of being 8-hour shifts for 5 days, or a 5-hour shift for 5 days, an 8-hour shift for 5 days. Mine is a 10-hour shift for 4 days. So that's my normal schedule. And what had happened is that he went to the hospital. So I had to basically cover his 8-hour shift on Friday, which corresponds with my live stream. And I didn't know how to properly let people know that this was happening. And I apologize for that. I'll probably learn what I'm supposed to do it that way, but with only 73 subscribers, and plus I'm also trying to do this more as not necessarily a live stream, but for watching later on. But he wound up going to the hospital. He's still at the hospital, from my understanding. It's driving him nuts because, well, he needs to be productive and all that. And lying in a hospital bed is not being productive. But he is sort of kind of on speed dial if we have any questions. Well, I did bring another coworker of mine who's been with the company for a couple of I want to say maybe at least over a decade, to help out with shipping. Which the thing is that he's always helped physically with all the work, not the computer stuff, not doing the scheduling of trucks and containers coming in and stuff like that. And I was only taught about maybe 60% of what he was doing. It was basically, I was doing all the small stuff, the UPS, the FedEx, it's like the things that a box that can be carried by one person. I did do a little freight, which can't be picked up by one person, but still be used on a pallet jack and done that way. And the thing is, I'm also not qualified. I'm not certified to run the forklift. I've run forklifts before, but that was so last century, and plus now they require certification for someone to drive a forklift. My coworker that was brought in is, so that's one of those things that going like, all right, well, that's one way of getting around it. And of course, the funny thing is that last Friday, we're expecting a container to come in. Hello there, Wigwag. Thank you for coming. As I said, last week, we're waiting for this container that was, I believe, supposed to be going to Poland. And we're waiting, and it's like, we're waiting for updates. And all of a sudden we finally get an update. The update is like, well, we have a container for you, but the truck that was bringing it to you broke down. So we lost that, and we're trying to scramble to get another truck to you. Long story short, it finally shows up on Friday. Which the guy who had replaced my supervisor turned around and he said he wasn't going to be available for the next 2 Fridays, which was last Friday and this Friday. So what had happened is that, of course, the container comes in when nobody's, it's just myself and the office crew. It's like, there's no, I'm looking at all the stuff and all that, and like, I need somebody with a forklift experience. So the head person for sales turns around, calls the owner, who is, from my understanding, I could be wrong on this, he has driven the forklift before, but it's been a while. So I get the impression that, yes, he can drive it, but he's not certified. But being the owner, he sort of bypassed all that. He made the executive decision to, bypass all that because, well, he could. And I would have to say he did a pretty decent job unloading it. I mean, he was a little rusty at first, trying to fit. The main problem is that the package, it's a 10, if I remember correctly, it's like a 10-foot wide container, which means it's slightly. Well, thank you for coming in, Dan. I'm just slowly explaining what's been happening with me. Might have to start off at the beginning, but nice to see you, Dan. What's for lunch? But the owner was able to get as soon as he got in basically the front door and all that, he was sort of kind of all right for the rest of the way. So that was sort of kind of annoying. And the interesting thing is that not the Thursday before, I was not there because I was at a wedding. I didn't think that they were going to let me go to the wedding because we're going like, oh no, we're short. No, but they honored it and all that. So I went to the wedding. It's one of those things of, I had a wonderful time while I was there. I saw friends that I haven't seen since the pandemic started. Some even longer than that. Oh, and that's where I wound up getting the cough I just did. Hello there, Mystic. Thank you for coming in. And so I went in on Monday, and I had a lot of my coworkers look at me going like, you don't look too good. So eventually So eventually, I wound up taking a test, and I tested positive. So I took the test when I went home. It's like by the first break, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I just can't go any farther. And they gave me one of those home tests and all that. So I turned around and said, yeah, I'm gonna do the home test at home instead of doing it in the in the middle of the break room. So I went home, took the test, tested positive. Now my my company has the policy of, if you test positive, it's an automatic 5 days. And the interesting thing is I normally work a normal 4-day week. So it's like start on a Monday. So the plan is to go back to work on Monday. Yes, that's I've been resting a lot, Mystic. And mainly because it's too hard to keep going. It's like I vaguely remember Monday, Tuesday, and a little bit of Wednesdays. Yeah, I'm sort of sad / happy that I got hit. Mainly because I think I wind up having to take a like like my supervisor to sort of took a well, his was a medically ordered vacation. Mine was I guess a policy vacation. But it's one of those things that I sort of kind of need it, but at the same time, the work itself has been the thing is they're on a hiring freeze. Not quite sure why they're on a hiring freeze, but they're on a hiring freeze. And even though there's been times it's like, oh, everyone's going to be doing all the jobs. And I mean, trust training is a good thing, but trust training, in my opinion, should be in a position when, okay, you have a slight surplus of people and all that, so you can shift people and all that. So like right now, somebody who hasn't done something specific before is now doing something that is slowing the whole process down. But then again, there's the owners must have information that the ones on the bottom don't know about, or in some cases not allowed to have, because, well, if they knew what was going on, there would be a mass exodus. There was a company I worked for, which they were planning on, it was later found out they were planning on moving the plant out of state. Had they let that information known to begin with, there would have been a lot of people going like, well, in that case, then bye. But they worked there when basically to the bone, saying that, oh my God, we're late, we need to get these ours out and all that, and etc. And oh, excuse me. At the at the holiday party, we find it's one of the few, I think it was the only time that we actually wind up meeting up with I'm trying to think what they're called, the field technicians and all that, because they're normally on site of where the customer is. But for the holiday party, they come back and say, hey, what's going on? And we had I remember the field technician's going to say, "What the hell are you guys doing?" It's like, we're trying to keep up. And it's like, what do you mean you're trying to keep up? We got so many units that they're being stockpiled outside in the parking lot because there's no more room on the inside. And somebody said, it's like, why are we saying that they're having delays? It's like, the customer was having delays, but it wasn't from our company. It was from a different company that the company I was working for did heating and air conditioning units. And the company that was causing the holdup was the one that did doors. So it's one of those things of it just didn't make any sense. And then right at the beginning of the year, all of a sudden things just went, everything just stopped. And and it's one of those things that they just, it was like almost every week, there was about large, like, I want to say almost like, I don't know the exact percentage, but I want to say 1% of the workforce was being laid off every week. 1%, and they got to a point where it was a skeleton crew. Oh, sorry about that. And once they got to the skeleton crew, they brought in the Department of Labor in, saying that, hey, this is going to be yeah, uh, yeah, I would say the beginning of the week, Anthony, was definitely the hardest part. And to a part where I'm not, well, I wasn't coughing, but now apparently now that I'm talking live and all that, now I'm coughing. Maybe it's actually using my voice. I don't know. But yeah, that's when, to get back to my story, that's when to find out, it's where they found out that what they were doing was moving the entire plant down to the main plant, which was in a different state. And that's basically they were using, and they were basically trying to get everything done. The interesting thing is when I got hired 3.5 years beforehand, there were discussions on of something that didn't make any sense, is just that there was a 6 months gap between the contract that we had that we're completing, and then 6 months, and then there's start of the other one. And there was always a question of what was going to be happening during those 6 months, just sitting around twiddling our thumbs. Yeah, of course this is happening live. Oh, oh. Uh, uh, so we're gonna try to get through this story. From there, yeah, we found out from there that, and the thing is that that 6 month period was just is about ready to come up because we're almost done with the order. And I found out that once the order got finished, that's when they're uh, moving the plant down to a different state, and then restarting it once and restarting everything once everything was down at the new location. So it was basically the assumption is that they had planned this. There's a lot of planning, and this was in the railroad industry itself. Is that they make plans uh, almost a decade in advance. So they knew this was what the transition was going to be, but they didn't tell anybody until basically the last second. Once they got, I want to say they had to, once they got down to a certain point and all that, and they're planning on moving, they were required by law, which this was New York State, because I moved here to Vermont just before the pandemic. Uh, uh, and that's how that happened. Out of the entire company, they only had 2 people that they retained. One still lived in the area and would commute and stay at a hotel for the week and then come back up, back up in this direction. The other one turned around and moved down there. And from my understanding, even though he moved down there and all that, of course, the cost of living where the plant is at the new state was a lot higher and all that. So it's one of those things of, yeah, they wound up getting paid more. They were getting paid more, but they were living in a place that had had a higher standard of living. So, but because the way I've been feeling and all that, the thing is with my supervisor being in the hospital, that's why I haven't been for the past couple of weeks on Fridays. And getting the showstopper at the wedding that I went to and all that. Apparently it was an event because I know people. There was, I want to say, at least 2 people at my table wound up also got kicked up, got tagged also. One found out on her birthday. She was not happy. Assuming I'm assuming her boyfriend, who was at the wedding, also had got it, but no confirmation on that. But yeah, it's one of those things that's one of the reasons why I'm doing a live stream today because I'm able to. Oh, AGB popped up. All right. But that's why I was able to do a live stream today. Haven't figured out, the thing is not knowing how long my supervisor is going to be in the hospital. It's one of those things of, all right, well, at first it was like, all right, I can skip a couple of days or a couple of weeks and all that. No one's going to be too bent out of shape for it, I guess. I really appreciate the people who have come on today and all that. It shows you that it shows me that I can take time off and then still have people pop in and go, hey, how you doing? So it's very, very much appreciated. The original idea was to have this channel as, an income stream, because at the time I was unemployed. Of course, as soon as I think I've said this before, as soon as I started the channel, I got employed. So I wasn't concentrating on the channel. It was basically, all right, just keep on doing it and then figure out the rest later. Make all the mistakes and all that, while I have less than 100 subscribers, which I still have, as I only have 73 at this point. And I have been looking at other I get suggested different channels and all that, and in some of them I look at them and I'm like, oh, what's this one about? And do find out, they have maybe 2,000 subscribers, but they started earlier or later than me. And I think it's a combination of the subject matter, and I almost want to say also a little bit of the personality, which I do admit that I probably don't have the world's greatest personality right now because I'm recovering. I also don't feel the greatest either, so I don't have the passion that I normally would have, because the passion is sort of, the energy for passion has been redirected. But it's one of the reasons why trying to do things that are above bare minimum is very hard to do at this point. The reason why I trying to figure out why one channel has over 2,000 subs while the other one has 20 will only drive you crazy. True. However, how many model railroads do you know are sane? No, it's also, Anthony, also it's different I would have to say different motivations. As I said, originally I was thinking of, making this as an actual job. But, being employed now, that's no longer a top priority of this channel. And anyone who's watched my openings basically said, hey, these are hobbies that make me happy. And that's one of the things of that's what I'm doing. It's just, I'm doing my best to enjoy what my hobby is and just share it with others. And if it won't, it's one of those odd things where they're always saying that, oh, be true to yourself, and then people will just uh and the things will just take off by themselves. And well, that's what I think I've been doing. But there's something else also there. All right, Mystic. Yeah, I would have to say that would probably be a good thing also. That's very true, Wigwag. Uh, but I would also one of the things that I would have to say is with uh why my current schedule is the way it is because Anthony's I was sort of crisscrossing over with Anthony's on Friday, and I at first I didn't realize that. And hmm, interesting. That I haven't. All right, that's a detail I haven't uh noticed before, Wigwag. So, and as I was saying, the reason why I changed my uh uh current schedule because I was overlapping with Anthony Dodge's for about half an hour because I was going from uh, uh 3 to 4, but he goes from 3:30 to 4:30, so that's why I moved up to 2:30 to 3:30, so I wouldn't have to uh wouldn't cross over with his because there are times I like watching Anthony. So it's one of those things of not just to step on his toes, but also since I wanted to see what he was doing, uh, not necessarily my uh, genre, I would have to say. But that is true. I was just trying to figure out where I want to land Anthony. And uh, it was, my work schedule was original. It is the original work schedule is 10 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. Uh, we were having half a days on Friday, but that's before my supervisor got sick, which I had to turn around and go for his full 8-hour shift. Uh, I don't know if he would crush me and all that. The history historically, you know, apparently historically, Germans did not uh, crush, but speaking of Mr. Dodge's live stream, and plus I'm starting to fade right now. I'm gonna cut this short so I could grab something with possible caffeine in it to not be as foggy or brain fogged, I should say. But I really appreciate people coming out. It is heartfelt to know that I could take a couple of weeks off, and there are the regulars will be here, and yes, everyone is welcome. I'm not quite sure what I'm planning on doing for next week because I don't know when my supervisor's coming back, so I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna, maybe do Friday night instead of Friday afternoon. That's something to that's something to ponder. So I might during the interim do the reason why I didn't want to do Friday nights because the first night on Fridays, or the first Friday of the month, I usually do something different, but but thanks everyone for coming, and thanks for all the well wishes. I believe that the world needs more love, so find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around. However, there are some things that, well, you shouldn't be spreading around. So